States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First part of this meeting is we're going to open it up for a hearing on two ordinances which are on the agenda. One is ordinance number 150, which is to prohibit on-street parking on all streets in Cherry Valley Estates except by special permit from the police. And the second one is changing the regulations for solid waste fee collections on rental properties to make it the landlord responsible instead of the renter. Because what has happened, there's a lot of renters, they move out, they don't pay their bill, and Waste Management says that comes back to everybody, and they just raise the fee to make up for their losses. So I'll turn it over to our solicitor, Tom.
And before we get into those items, a separate hearing on, as advertised, is on the Malloy petition to rezone. Just by way of explanation, under the state municipal code and under every zoning ordinance, including ours, folks, property owners have a right to request by petition a request to rezone the property or to have a zoning text change and whatnot. And the property owners, in this case Malloy, and folks know it otherwise, sometimes it's in Westland, the auction house, have filed a petition, and the applicant will give their presentation in a moment and their explanation, but generally speaking, it's been what was known as a non-conforming use, something that was legal before the zoning ordinance and continues, and you can't and lawfully continues because it pre-existed. And there are reasons why one may wish to bring it into conformity by asking such a change. Just procedurally, the township is required when they receive such a petition, and actually the property owner does pay an application fee and reimburse the cost of actually their request to review that, which they have in this case. It has to be referred to the county planning agency for their comment or opportunity to comment. They don't always do and did not in this case. And also to our planning commission, and we obtain their recommendations as well as from the zoning officer. In this case, in addition to that, the postings of the property that were timely done, as well as the legal advertisings, and in addition to that, we're required to send letter notices out to those that live within 300 feet, and based on the list that I obtained from Mr. Clark, and my office did that. Just additionally, for the record, the minutes of the Planning Commission on November 4th, 2019 reflect that the Planning Commission did make a favorable recommendation regarding rezoning. However, they would be favorable to a rezoning of the property to what's known as the B1 General Business District as opposed to the M1 Industrial District as request. So, having said that, the time and place now that after the applicant has their opportunity to make their presentation, and obviously the board at any time will interject any questions that they may have, and myself following, folks that live in close proximity or and otherwise generally have an opportunity if they wish to make comment, and if you'd like to ask questions too, direct, and we'll help reformulate those for you, just for decorum's sake. So with that, be appropriate to turn it over to the applicant and ask them if they wish to present their petition.
We do. Thank you, members of the board, Mr. McDermott, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name is Tom Lonich. I'm an attorney here in Washington. I'm here on behalf of the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Malloy, who are here with us. Mr. and Mrs. Malloy own the property, the address at 402 Westland, and as council has indicated, for familiarity, it's where the auction house is located. And we are here seeking a rezoning of the property. It's currently zoned RH. We are seeking and have amended our application to reflect the recommendation of the Planning Commission. So we'd seek the zoning to a B1, not the M1 industrial. So in furtherance of the comments and suggestions made by the Planning Commission. Mr. and Mrs. Malloy have owned the property since 1969. As some of you may well know, way back when, it was zoned industrial. In fact, my understanding, it was the mining area for Consolidation Coal. And it was remained that way until 2006, when there was a rezoning. And it went from the industrial to an R3 designation. And then recently, as I understand, in 2018, the R3 designation was changed to an RH, which is residential or highway. This is the township official zoning map. And the property for Mr. and Mrs. Malloy is located down here in the yellow, this little corner. As you can see, it is surrounded by purple, which is the industrial area. And pulling that out using some of the tax map location, this is the Malloy property right here on the corner. It is separated by Route 519 and also by Meadow Street. Now the property that's immediately surrounding is also the RH or residential area. This is our understanding, this is owned by Consol. It's vacant, it's also in a floodplain, but it's surrounded by RH. The areas that are off across Meadow are also RH, and that's where the residents are operating. This property by the Malloys, as I've indicated, had always been industrial, and it's operating now with the non-conforming use in an RH as the auction house. And we completely understand that if it is rezoned to a B1 designation, and I don't mean to turn my back on anybody here if you need be, they have to come in, it would then be compliant for that designation. And with that, whatever use would be in there, they may have to follow other ordinances and things like that, and that's understandable. One of the items of importance, and looking at the zoning map, this is Chartiers. Across the street from this way, that's all M1, it's industrial. The area in Chartiers is all zoned industrial. So you have the property that sits right here on the corner, which is naturally bisected, if you will, by 519 separating Meadow Street. So it's separated naturally by the roadways from the RH. It's surrounded by M1 across the road, industrial. It's surrounded to its left, moving into Chartiers by industrial. And it is our belief and hope that allowing this property to be rezoned to B1, as recommended by the Planning Commission, will allow it and be a less intrusive on an RH or residential neighborhood, while allowing that property to be utilized in a continual business type setting. So with that, if there's any specific questions any members of the board or the solicitor have, we'd be happy to try to answer those.
The one question I have is, since they're not changing it to a B1, how is this advertised? As an M to an M1?
Yeah, thank you for that question as well. Per the petition, we advertised the public hearing and the possible consideration of an ordinance as a change to M1. As a technical legal matter. And they have actually, and thank you for clarifying the record, they have, based on the PC's recommendation, revised their application, and actually I forwarded a supplemental review letter to the county, who normally does not respond to them in any event, but just to give them the opportunity to comment on a B1. A change to B1 is, and from the original request, in my opinion, is not what would be known as a substantial change. Now, if it was going from B to M, I would call that substantial, but going from the M to the B, I don't consider that substantial in the context of the notice requirements. Therefore, we would not have to have a renewed hearing to consider that. However, I do believe that since it is a technical change in the request, we would not be able to consider the application at the meeting that follows this hearing tonight. I do believe we would technically have to re-advertise it
Re-advertise.
if you
Change
were
it to B1.
favorably disposed even to change it to B1.
Right.
Just to let folks know. Thank you for that.
And I agree with that. I think you can conditionally approve it, subject to, or give us an indication of what we may wish
Well, I think they
to
could
do.
close the hearing and just table the matter till next month.
Right.
And authorize me, if you wish, to advertise it that way, and that we do that. Did the board have any other questions of the
I have
applicant?
no other
I'll make a motion to do that.
Okay, and then we would do that at the
We'll do
meeting,
that at
not
our
during the
meeting.
hearing, though, technically.
No, okay.
We're kind of technically in a hearing, then we close this and go into the meeting. I know it's kind of a hearing within the meeting. Just for follow-up, right now, is it vacant as far as occupancy?
It could be, but
I mean, presently, today,
yeah.
it's vacant?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you acknowledge that if a new use comes in there, whether it's a new auction house or whether any other use that's allowed, they would have to meet the criteria under the subdivision ordinance, zoning ordinance, et cetera.
Absolutely. All other ordinances applicable would be in effect, and we understand it. And whatever it may be,
Right.
including parking, which I know has always been somewhat of an issue down
Yeah,
there.
so thank you, and just kind of buyer beware, applicant beware, that actually was the topic I wanted to kind of caution you on. The board would wish to, and or zoning or in your, just for kind of your education's sake, you would, because technically under an ordinance, parking is accessory or primary use, so parking technically needs to be, unless there's a conditional use approval that allowed it with lease proof or a variance, to do off-site parking. So you may, to get a future use in there that might require more parking than you could fit on there, you may need a variance, even with the change.
Right. That's understood.
And that may be
I've
the
explained
nature
that,
of the building being, you know, kind of,
Yeah, and it depends upon the nature of the use that may be going
Sure.
in there and what other requirements. And, you know, I've had that discussion with Mr. Griswold.
okay, we just wanted to make sure everybody kind of was on the same
Sure,
page
absolutely.
in that regard.
Yep.
And just for everybody's sake too, and I'll give you a copy, I might have emailed you a copy of these, Mr. Clarkin actually prepared, and it just is a blow-up that helps kind of show the lay of the land. It shows the parcel more as a blow-up in the zoning immediately surrounding it. And again, it's kind of more of a neighborhood perspective. And then also, I think, is a kind of, probably a replica blow-up of his photograph that just shows, because we wanted to be clear where the zoning boundaries are, at and surrounding the property.
Can I go ahead?
With that, open it up, would be appropriate time to open up if anybody from the public, residents of Mount Pleasant Township, wish to make comment or ask any inquiry regarding the request to resign.
Okay.
Hearing none, would be appropriate to entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close the hearing on the Malloy property.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
That concludes the hearing, and we can open the regular meeting.
Mr.
We
Chairman,
gotta
just
do these ones, right?
You don't have to have a public hearing, and we didn't advertise a public hearing on this, but if you wish to, during the meeting,
Okay.
open those for
Well, we can take
general
comment.
discussion, or during the public comment section at the beginning of the meeting.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to get some clarity procedurally. So now during your regular meeting, are you gonna take further action on the request?
Yes, and just to
We're
cover
gonna
all the
table.
bases, it would be, you know, a board could, just to cover all the bases, they could take no action on it, they can make a motion, based on what we said about the advertising requirements, even if they are favorably disposed to the revised petition, I believe they would appropriately make a motion to table it, and in the meantime, authorize a re-advertisement specifically to the B1 for action in December.
I just wanted to be here,
Sure.
remain here, so in case there's any questions or anything that come up, that's all.
I think that, I think we're probably gonna table it and re-advertise for the B1, and we'll put it on next month's agenda, so that's the way it's gonna end up.
Okay.
So you could hang out for 15 minutes, or if you have Hickory TV, you could get out in 10 minutes.
Well, we'll hang out. Thank you.
All right, we'll open it up, any public discussions on the items on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on. We are going to have a little presentation from some board members of the Heritage Public Library.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come and speak with you. This is my first time at a township meeting, so. Hi, everybody. My name's Margaret Tarantino, and this is Cindy Hughes, and we're both on the Heritage Library Board of Directors. I am also the school librarian for Fort Cherry, and that I don't live in McDonald or Mount Pleasant. I live in Scott Township, but I work in McDonald, so that puts me on the board there. So we really wanted to come and thank you for your support. Your township has supported the Heritage Library continuously, and that
consistently.
Yes. And that has really made a huge difference in allowing us to operate. Some of the programs that your funding has helped us with, we have a lot of activities for little guys, of course. We try to get them interested in reading. Some of those are the Bunny Breakfast, which is held at Easter time, story time. We have winter and spring sessions. We have a summer reading program for children up to 5th grade, and this year it was phenomenal. It was all about astronomy. So every single activity that was held was STEM related: science, technology, engineering, and math. And we had an astronomy teacher, a high school teacher, come to most of the activities and really engage the students in learning things about astronomy. For the little ones, there's also Mother's Day tea. They could come with their mom and celebrate at the library. For the adults, there's things like painting classes, which just gives people another opportunity to hone their skills. One of the things, our library director, Mary Durante, who you probably know very well, she retired. We tried not to let her retire, but she did anyway. And so, but the good news was Robinson Township nominated her to be on our board, so we still have her knowledge and expertise still with us. And our new library director's name is April Bailey, and she is extremely technologically savvy. So she's kind of bringing us up a little bit with Twitter, and Facebook is like nothing to her. So she's really, changing our website and really getting us more technology related. So I'm going to let Cindy tell you a little bit about changes to the facility.
Sure. So we obviously depend on funding from our communities that fall within our footprint of the school district, but we also use our resources to write grants as well as do some fundraising activities. And some of the grants that we've obtained this year, we received a Keystone grant. We received some of the LSA money. We have the Office of Commonwealth Libraries Play and Grow grants, the Pennsylvania Public Library tinkering kits, and we recently, Representative Ortitai helped us obtain a Walmart grant. And things that we do with those grants, some of them are for programming with younger children to buy STEM-related projects and activities. Some of them we've used for things like updating our lighting so that it's LED lighting. We had to replace, we have 2 furnaces and air conditioning units in the library, and they have been on their last leg for probably a decade. And every year it was kind of a panic of whether or not we were going to get through the winter with our current system. So with our grant money, we were able to replace both of them. We want to make our library more welcoming to everybody in our community, and that includes individuals with disabilities. So one of the projects we did was to create a new circulation desk, and that desk has a lower portion, so individuals who may have challenges related to mobility or even just stature would be able to feel more connected with the library. We are currently attempting to, our plan was to make one of our entrances more accessible. And we've had a couple of speed bumps, we'll say, in that process, but we're really hoping to be able to use this grant money to make a more accessible entrance. We currently do have an entrance that is considered accessible, but it's just not the ideal that we'd like to have. We also participate in the WCCF Gives Day, so we obtained approximately $2,400 for that. We're right now in the midst, if you see on TV, Subaru does the Share the Love event at this time of the year. Well, Bud Bear, who has a Subaru dealership, piggybacks on that event where all the donations to our library from now until January, he will match dollar for dollar. So right now we've already received $700 in donations that will then be matched by Bud Bear. So and we're a library that runs on a shoestring budget, so $700 means a lot to us. We are planning a Christmas party coming up for the young kids. It's a reading event. We're having Santa. We're having families in with hot chocolate, photo opportunities. We have some service dogs that are coming. It's really going to be an exciting event.
And some of the other activities that we're planning for are some book bingo events for adults and young adults. We're hoping graphic novels are starting to emerge. Graphic novels are what I used to call comic books, but they're becoming very popular with elementary students and high school, middle school students, and even some young adults.
Mm-hmm.
So the library is looking to improve the collection of graphic novels at the library. Also, one of the nice things that we do for seniors is a gentleman named Mr. Bob Strike does tax preparations for seniors at the library. So that's very nice. He does it free of charge. People can come in and get advice on their taxes. Also, one of the things that our new director, April Bailey, would like to do is she'd like to have some sort of a club after school, a STEM club, science, technology, engineering, and math, where children could come to the library after school and work on STEM projects. So that's one of her future wishes.
Just to put a little plug in, we're always looking for board members. We're a very nice group of people. If anybody is interested in volunteering some time, we'd welcome any additions. We also have a community room. It's not quite as large as the fire hall that we use for our bunny breakfast up here, but we do have a community room that a lot of different groups sign out, for lack of a better word, to do. We have some addiction recovery groups, we have some quilting groups, Head Start, which is a preschool program to try and catch students who maybe are not going to achieve milestones in their typical times, to do some early intervention types of services, government utility assistance, as well as birthday parties. A lot of people with the local churches will use us for funeral lunches, things of that nature. So please keep us in mind if you're having a larger event. And Margaret and I, as well as the rest of the board, just thank you for your time. And again, we really thank you for your continued support.
Very much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
As a township, we like to support the library.
Oh,
We
okay.
think it's important for the kids,
Right.
and,
And for the community.
and for the community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, we really appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors meeting minutes on October 23rd, 2019 with one correction. The meeting was called to order at 7 PM, not 8 PM.
I'm sorry. Okay. I will change that.
There was a time zone change. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You turned back your clock too soon.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Supervisors budget meeting on October 28th, November 5th.
I'll second that.
2019.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We did receive a thank you letter at the township from the fire department for the support of that the township police and the public works people gave for the Apple Festival. I'll make a motion to approve the departmental reports.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to authorize, ratify the payment of the bills and payroll for the month of November 2019.
I'll second that. Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Under new business, letter received from Gary Cotton requesting final approval of the subdivision with the modification noting that Lot 2 will be a no-build lot at the present time. Planning Commission, you guys are okay with that? I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to table the Malloy Westland petition for rezoning and authorize the solicitor re-advertising as a B1 instead of an M1.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no. Motion carries.
And we'll have that advertised for consideration at our December meeting.
Thank you.
You want to read this ordinance, or you just want to make?
I don't think we have to read the whole ordinance.
Right. I mean, you want to talk about all or not?
Yeah, you can go ahead and make the motion, then we'll open it up.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 105, parking ordinance, Cherry,
150.
or 150, sorry, Cherry Valley State.
Motion's been made. Before I second it, just a little further explanation. Down at the Cherry Valley Estates, there's been some issues when emergency vehicles have tried to get through, and you got cars parked on two sides of the road, and it's very difficult to get them through. And also, snow, when the public works is going to plow, it makes it very difficult. So we're going to adopt this ordinance that you can park, if you're having a party or something, you'll be allowed to park on the road as long as they notify the police and get basically their permission before they do it. It's a safety thing, and that's why this thing come up. Is there anybody in the public that has any comments that they would like to make on it? Okay, I'll second the motion to approve ordinance number 150. Any other questions from the board? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed no. Motion carries. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 151, which deals with the solid waste standards and regulations for collection and is to establish updated regulations for solid waste fee collection. And as I explained earlier, it is basically come about, we get a list every month of delinquent solid waste accounts, and we went down and looked through them, and the majority of them are renters that have moved in and moved out. And it's just getting too large, and waste management, somebody's gonna pay. It's not gonna be waste management, I can tell you that. So we felt this was a way that we could try and coerce some of that, let the landlords can raise their rent however they want to do it, but to make them responsible for the bill. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions or comments from public? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Discussion items, got a letter received from Lennon Smith regarding change order number 1 for Carter and Hoop Lane Road improvements. Installation of 2 inlets, conveyor belt curbing, approximately 36 linear feet of 12-inch CPP. Additionally, this change order extends the time of completion to June 15th, 2020 due to weather conditions for the placement of DSA aggregate. I think we had already approved that addition before. Do we need to do anything to prove the extension of the time on this, or is that a conservation district?
Yeah, they came and I signed the order extending it to 2020. Emily from the Conservation District wanted
Okay,
it.
so
Yes.
there's no action.
No.
needed. Very good. Okay, public discussion on anything. Lou?
About 11 days left in No Shave November. If anybody wants to help donate to the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, just stop in and see us at the police department.
We'll be glad when November's over and you guys all become hairless. Yes, sir. Please state your name and your address.
Yeah, Dwight Wagner, 620 Westwood Road. I'm just wondering where I can get more information about the sewage authority, what the costs are to homeowners.
We don't know yet.
Ah,
And I'm also on the sewage authority.
okay.
And at this point, we're getting ready to start permitting. You can't go after funding until after your permits are issued. So you don't know until you get that funding.
So you're chasing your tail.
you-
Okay.
Yeah.
Chasing the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and just for the way it looks right now is we were hoping by the end of the year, I'm saying sometime in the first quarter next year, all the permitting will be submitted.
Okay.
And DEP has, I think it's 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
And, you know,
Which one?
government doesn't
Yeah. that'll extend further.
move too fast. So, and then once that's done, and somewhere in, even before we'll kind of start working on funding, but we won't know anything until after that final approval from the DEP,
Patience.
unfortunately. And currently the plan is, if everything goes well, bidding second half of next year, shovel in the dirt first of 2021. That's the way it's working out. Cross your fingers, yeah. Anything else? I'll make a motion to adjourn. Let me announce, after we close this meeting, we're gonna have an executive session for some legal issues. We will not be coming back and we will not be making any decisions. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed no. Motion carries.
Thank you.